My friends, it might finally be happening. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. I've got some current events and new models to talk about tonight. But to kick things off, we're talking about the Foo Fighters, specifically Dave Grohl here, holding an Epiphone DG335. That's right, his super famous signature model that people have been asking and waiting for an Epiphone version for such a long time might finally be happening. But just to give some backstory, Dave Grohl first got his signature model with Gibson in 2007. It was based on the late 60s Trini Lopez models, except for he changed his up just a little bit. You don't have the Trini Lopez tailpiece. But he basically took a previous signature guitar and warped the identity to become his, which then in turn brought interest to the original Trini Lopez models to a completely different generation. The initial run was offered in blue and ebony, but then 7 years later they followed that up with another limited release, this time in a slightly different blue and a gold finish. I've documented the gold finish on the show, and ever since then the prices of these things have just gone insane on the used market. So people have been begging for a new Gibson release, or hopefully an Epiphone, to make it more affordable. But here we are, the year 2023, we're finally being slightly teased here with potentially both. Because that's the way the Gibson family of brands likes to do things lately. They tease it with the artist, they don't give you any information, and then you slowly learn about it. So we can see the Epiphone one here, seems to be a tried and true reissue. The photo's in black and white, so we're not really sure what colors we're getting at this time. But as far as on the Gibson front, we can see Dave playing a white one here. Now that could just be a custom color for him, or maybe they're going to do another limited release within Gibson and then do an Epiphone. However, this time I really think the Epiphone might come out first, or they might come out around the same time. Because Dave Grohl is a big enough of a name that you could probably do that and still sell through these quite a bit, because it's not like we don't already have the Gibson ones out there. We don't need to stagger this release. I would start saving up now because I can easily see these being at least $14.99 on the Epiphone, and who knows how crazy the Gibson one will get. But I am definitely excited for this Epiphone release. But whether we'll see them in a couple of months or 3 or 4 years, I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. But as far as the other cool guitars in these photos, we've got a nice jazz master over here, some sort of a bass, but Pat over here. I always enjoy our chats. He prefers really lightweight guitars on stage because, hey, you have to play the thing for so long. So he's rocking a 3/4 size double cut Melody Maker, circa 1963-64-ish. I'd like to see him get a signature Epiphone and Gibson as well. But speaking of things we've been waiting for forever, we finally got the Dave Mustaine Epiphones and Kramers. So let's start with the Epiphone camp. We have 2 different models. It's not just different finishes. The first one is within the Prophecy series. So if you're not familiar with the Prophecy, it's basically a really high-end Epiphone. Like we've got this Explorer-esque Extura. Most of them feature the Fishman Fluence pickups. There was a Flying V, the Prophecy SG, as well as a 24-fret Les Paul. And they're all around $900. Now, I'm not much of a hyper-modernized player, so I didn't actually end up reviewing any of these, except for the Jerry Cantrell. That was actually a surprisingly good guitar, so I'm sure the other ones are pretty nice as well. But the Cantrell had a slight premium built into it at $1149. And the Dave Mustaine is no different, except for it's even more. It's $1,500. I was not expecting that. It's a regular Flying V shape for the most part. You've got your 24 frets, just like the Gibson signatures. We still have the Fishman Fluence pickups with a flame maple veneer. We've got his signature Explorer style headstock on it with a black back and sides, and we've got a volute. So you might come over here and compare it to the Flying V Prophecy. You can tell the headstock's different. The entire body shape is different. Kind of more like a 58 style V, loosely. Whereas this is more a 60 style, so you can't just say it's necessarily a reskin. They had to completely design a new guitar within the Prophecy lineup, so that kind of helps your price point a little bit. But you do have a straight up ebony fretboard, that's good, with a real mother of pearl dot inlay. But our normal V Prophecy has an asymmetrical slim taper neck, whereas the Mustaine one just says signature artist profile, so that might be a little bit different. Now you can look at the Gibson version, which is about $2,800 brand new. You might say, why don't you just step up to that for only twice the price? You gotta remember, this is more so akin to the Gibson custom shop version, rather than what USA produces, since it's got the binding and the flamage. However, if Fishman Fluence pickups aren't your style, you can save $100 and just get his regular Flying V custom. So this one's being offered in a black metallic finish. Again, it just looks like the Gibson custom shop version, but scaled down to an Epiphone. But you still have his signature Seymour Duncan pickups in it. So if you really wanted one of those and you needed a slightly less expensive version, I guess they kind of fit that bill. But out of the 2 Epiphones, I'm more excited about the Futura one. So if anybody wants to New Guitar Day one of those, I'll do the documentation because it's got the different pickups. I've already done the documentations of the USA as well as the custom shop ones. I want something a little bit different if I'm going to do it again. It's kind of like the Greenie Les Paul. We've had so many different iterations. We've had so many different Dave Mustaines. However, at the same time, they also launched the Kramers that we've been waiting for. They came in at $1,300, so just slightly less than the Epiphones. I've been low-key more excited for the Kramers rather than the Epiphones because you got the slightly pointier look that he used to be known for with other manufacturers, and you get the silver metallic, you've got an ebony, and then you've got the signature Alien Tech green. So it seems Epiphone got the Gibson custom shop, whereas Kramer got the Gibson USA slightly cheaper versions. So I guess it depends just what you're gonna go for. Out of these, I think the Alien Tech is the most interesting, mainly because I missed out on that release with Gibson. But you've got your Explorer-esque headstock, sharp pointy body this time. Volute, although unfortunately we do not get the cool inlays. I definitely wasn't expecting the Kramers to be exactly that expensive, because if you look at the other signature guitars, you've got Charlie Parras that we did review and document for $899, Tracy Guns $899. The Snake Sabo is $1,000 but has a cool graphic on it. We'll have to see how they sell. But I was shocked to find that Gibson still has some of the custom shop ones for sale, and they only made 75 of each of those. So if anybody's interested in a custom shop one, I actually have 3 of them. 2 of them are burst, one of them's black. I'll do $6,200 PayPal gift. If you want to pay regular PayPal, that's fine too. You just got to contact me on my website, troglysguitarshow.com. That's a good deal. Next up, let's move over to some Fender news. Good old Sakurabu Erst has come back. Now, if you don't understand that, that was an inside joke when these things first came out back from this episode. So that used to be a FenderJapan.com exclusive. So that's what I call an exclusive because you cannot get those things out of the country unless you know somebody in Japan. Whereas other Japan exclusives, sometimes dealers will ship out if you know the right guys. So apparently, they've brought this back on the Made in Japan Hybrid 2 series Stratocaster, and they're offering them in Europe, which I think is great. I like to see this one come to the USA. Sakura Burst is just a very nice, light, playful color. It works great. Reminds you of the cherry blossom trees. That's where the name comes from. And it shows that Fender is slightly paying attention to the videos that I make on these Japan exclusive models and how they do have an audience in America, even if they think it might be too crazy. However, at the end of the day, how much of an audience do they have that actually wants to buy it rather than just the curiosity of watching a video? I guess time will tell. But until then, I like having my second niche on my channel being Japan Fenders. But speaking of Japan Fenders, what else do they have as exclusives on their website at this time? We've got a Stratocaster within that same series, but this time in Inca Silver, and we've got a wide range humbucker. I wonder if it's real Kunifi. Nope, it's just a Shawbucker. You gotta watch Fender Japan. Sometimes they do throw the real ones in there. That's kind of interesting, but not the craziest thing we've ever seen. But this is pretty interesting. Satin Indigo, thin line telly with roasted maple neck, ash body, nice. But that's one of those exclusives. Fender Japan satin finishes are usually pretty interesting. They have a nice softness to them. You could check out the Japan Junior series to kind of learn what I'm talking about there. But the colors work really well with each other, especially the white inlay. So I'd do the review and demo on this if somebody's interested. You can reach out to me via my website. This one would fall under my forwarding service. And then lastly, for their exclusives, I've got a reverse headstock aged lacquer gold hardware Stratocaster. Looks like anodized pickguard, maybe even 2. But with a regular white backplate. I feel like this needs a reverse trem system on it too. That's freaky, but I like it. It kind of reminds me of the Michiya Haruhata Stratocasters. Although not quite as blingy. But now let's check out Fender USA side of things. The John 5 Ghost Telecaster. I've gotten so many emails about this thing. Am I going to review it? Maybe. Like, I have a pre-order in, but it's not necessarily guaranteed I'm going to get it. Well, as far as Telecasters go, this thing's pretty strange. So apparently John took inspiration from this guitar that we had talked about a while ago, the Supreme Stratocaster. I don't even care about Supreme. In fact, that was the first time I had ever heard of the brand, but I just thought the whole all-white Strat thing was cool. So John took that, put it on a Telecaster, and just like amplified the redness. And then he threw a kill switch on here, so now it's got a Buckethead-like vibe to it, but an HH Telecaster. The back is completely white, but you do have the red serial number here. I'm kind of surprised he didn't go for like red locking tuners on the back, but they did continue the theme by putting a red washer and a red logo and a red nut. I'm surprised all the frets aren't red somehow, but you've got the red binding on the top. It is certainly an interesting piece, and if it does show up, you can bet your butt I will be doing the review. But I love the fact that they gave it a custom case. Like, this is not a custom shop guitar. This is Fender USA, but it's got that and a red interior? That's cool. But as with any cool release, you got people immediately trying to flip them for big bucks. Do not pay it. Not until they sell out. They're making 600 of these. If a shop has it on their website as a pre-order or something, go ahead and do that. Exhaust all your options before paying what the market then decides it's worth. Don't lose hope. You might be able to find one for retail, but that was a pretty fair price coming from Fender for such a unique piece with the custom case. I'm a bit behind on new models, so I saw there was a new Paranormal series. This time on the Squire side of things, this is an Esquire Deluxe. It's pretty cool. It's got a chicken head 3-way selector switch with your humbucker in the bridge. That could actually be a lot of fun. The Squire Paranormals are usually a great bang for your buck. I mean, this run looks like they're at $430. That's metallic black and a mocha finish. It's one of the few times I'd probably choose ebony. We've got a Stratasonic in crimson red transparent. Kind of reminds me of the Jim Atkins models, but those are Telecaster. Kind of like a Les Paul special in a roundabout way with your P90 pickups. And of course, we've got a TV yellow-like finish. And then people were really pumped about this, a Jazzmaster 12, relatively affordable. You don't need a 12-string electric guitar every day, but when you do, you probably don't want to pay crazy money for it. And it comes in a cool blue finish, as well as white. All right, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed our current event topics tonight. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.